Fuck it, we'll do it live. Hello. How is everybody doing today? I'm cold. It's cold in here. I'm putting a blanket on, I don't care. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna put the cool side out for I'm gonna put the cool side outwards. Because it has cars and trucks. Okay, cool. As you can see, I got my third monitor working this stream, so that's good. We can have wave candy. I know how much everybody missed wave candy and the spectrum analyzer, maybe a little less so the spectrum analyzer. But video studio and get the broadcast data on just chatting. Whatever. Maybe some people will come and think that it's Tarkov and they will be disappointed, and that's okay. I don't mind disappointing people. I do it every day of my life. Here we go. Now I got to remember how to turn all this shit back on. Let's start with this. Well, that ain't right, is it? Yes. Hey. Okay. It's a little off. Just move this over. There we go. That looks maybe a bit better. And then, what's up, Duke? There's another one I got to turn back on. This, which again needs to be this. Oh my God, it's kind of in the right spot. I took a good guess. Let's try it. I think that's right-ish. Cool. Thank you for watching me reorganize my stream. As always, just the most professional thing in the world. And there. Okay. It's time to hop on Tarkov. What do you think? Customs? Let's grab the songs, which I have downloaded. I have downloaded them. That's not the right thing to click. All right. And we got the songs. Oh my God. Did you see that? This is the stream. This is the paint file, but it's, oh my God. That looks so cool. I should get that as a tattoo on my body. This. Start at the base of my skull and go down to my ass crack, and that'll be my tattoo. I think that'd be pretty cool. Anyway, let's check out what you guys have been doing. 174 beats per minute to start it off. We're not easing into it. Now I'm showing the download song. I had to resend last moment because I effed up the exporting twice. Interesting. I just grabbed them like 3 minutes ago. So I basically started the stream and then went and got the songs downloaded. That's typically how I do it. So I think you're probably good, but am I excited for the Jake Paul and Mike Tyson fight? I don't follow that shit, but honestly, kinda. I did see something. I saw that he like slapped him, which maybe was staged or whatever, scripted, but whatever. I don't know. I think it'll make for some interesting viewing experiences on YouTube, but I certainly am not going to pay money for it. That's 100% for sure. I will catch it on the replay. All right, let's have a listen. Fuck it. This one's called Delta Fuel with vocals me and my friend recorded today. Okay. Fears and finally move on. Okay, let me start off. That ding 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 ding, it doesn't sound, I don't mind what it's doing, but the sound of it is a little too kind of plinky and basic, and the rest of the track sounds like pretty deep. And then the kick thing is a little typical. Then those vocals, holy shit, are loud. Those vocals are holy shit loud, and they came in out of nowhere. You know, the vocals probably are a little loud for this section and a little heavy in the mid-range, but I think more than anything, it's the fact that they came out of nowhere. So take the very first, like this. Okay, hold on. Let's take the first note. One of the first notes. We'll just pick one arbitrarily. We'll do that one. So one thing I do to solve this problem of things coming out of nowhere and just smacking me is I will send it into a big reverb, and then I'll record the output of that, Edison. And, you know, you might have to do that depending on what, which one you're using, what DAW you're using, you might do it differently. We'll do on input, and then we just do this. I think he was a little flat on that note, so we'll pick a different note. Cool. All right, now we take this. This is like the oldest trick in the book, but it's very effective. And now we have this reverse vocal sound that we can use to introduce the vocals, and it's a little less, whoa, where did that come from? Got to remember to turn the reverb off afterwards. That's another part of the trick. You know what I'm saying? If I turn this down. It's pretty subtle in that situation, but the idea is there. So I would probably turn the vocals down and introduce them a little more gently, like with that reverse thing. I didn't realize I could face my fears and finally move on. I'm feeling free right now. I can fly away like any minute. I got no time to waste. It's the future that I chase. I thought I'd never change. I'm involved in every second. What would it sound like if you added some sort of transient on top of the ding, 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 ving, ving, ving? What if that had like a, whether it's like a sample or if you did it in the synth itself, but what if it was a bit more ding, ding, ding and less ving, ving, ving? I don't know. It may be better the way it is, but I think it's worth a try. I'd probably try to sneak a little bit of the vocals in between here and here. Like we have this whole drop section with no reference back to the vocals. It could be something very simple. You could cut up the vocal. It could be halfway through, it kind of drops out and there's like a line that's delivered off of the vocal, but just like a little reminder that those vocals exist before we get to the B section of the drop. Let's keep going. I got no time to waste. It's the future that I chase. I thought I'd never change. I'm involved in every second. I got no time to waste. It's the future that I chase. I thought I'd never change. I'm I think the vocals are a bit heavy in this kind of area. I thought I'd never change. I'm involved in every second. I got no time to waste. It's the future that I chase. I thought I'd never change. I'm involved in every second. Yeah, I think that. I think he's doing a good job on the vocals. The vocals sound good. There's a couple pitchy spots, very minor, but for the most part, I think they're just kind of very loud in that low mid fundamental area of his voice. Starting out preaching to finish. I'm sure I'll make it right this time. Yeah, I think this is a good spot where we could kind of take a look at those vocals. Let's do that. Starting out preaching to finish line. I'm sure I'll make it right this. Starting out preaching to finish line. Like this kind of curve on the vocals could help, it's a bit extreme, and you might maybe dry some of the reverb off of it as well, which would help with this boxy kind of sound down here. But I'm pulling like 4 dB out of this 300 hertz area, and I think it's sounding better.
Starting up, reaching the finish line. I'm sure I'll make it right this time. I didn't realize I could face my fears and finally move on. I'm feeling free right now, I can fly away like any minute. I got no time to waste, it's the future that I chase. I thought I'd never change, I've been rolling every second.
I really like these little gaps here. These are cool. They give it like a real hoppy vibe.
I got no time to waste, it's the future that I chase. I thought I'd never change, I've been rolling every second. I got no time to waste, it's the future that I chase. I thought I'd never change, I've been rolling every second.
I like this lead thing, but again, it's very loud. I feel like the vocals and that lead thing are both just a bit too loud. Because you can really tell when it when that sound is happening, the drums almost like the top drums and stuff almost like they feel like they're getting ducked by it in the master bus. It's sick though. I think you're doing a great job with it. It's kind of channeling pendulum vibes a little bit. It's got some pendulum or what's that? Is it Girl in the Fire? Or is that by Triphonic? Girl in the Fire. Gabby's Dollhouse. Why the fuck is that up? Girl in the Fire. I think it's called Girl. No, something in the Fire. I think it's Triphonic. Triphonic. Maybe I'm confusing two different. There's Parks on Fire. Yeah, it's definitely not that. It's Girl. Is it Pendulum? Girl. Fuck. Girl something. I thought it was a Pendulum song. Anyway, welcome to Fowler Tries to Remember Songs Live. Propane Nightmare. Yeah, no. 2000 Immersion. Oh, it's off of Hold Your Color. It is Girl in the Fire. What the fuck? It didn't come up. Yeah, this girl is on fire. No, not that one. Anyway, that's kind of not really a great reference, but it's a good song. So anyway, good song, good time, good job. All of the good things. Keep going. I don't even know if I gave you advice, but here we go. Next one is Double Dart Discovery. Double Dart, is that when you have two smokes? What, back to back? You have a cigarette and then you have another cigarette? I don't know. So there's some like clicky stuff coming on in there. And it's going through whatever has the delay on it. It's like click, click, click. It's very subtle, but it adds to like a bit of an amateur vibe when you have clicks and stuff like that in there that sound like it's maybe coming from an audio cut that wasn't done smoothly. So I'd clean those up. I also agree that the piano does sound a little out of tune. I mean, it's not necessarily the worst thing in the world, but you know, we don't want T-Pain piano. So musically, this is cool. I think the drums are a little... Hello, Maple Leaf. I'm assuming you're Maple Leaf because it says I'm Maple Leaf. Which is kind of a little redundant in a sense. Okay, so yeah, the drums, like the snare mostly. The snare just kind of sounds like a... It sounds like a pre-release snare, like a snare that hasn't been fully developed and ready for consumption yet. Like it's there, but it's not really doing any sort of like impact. It's just kind of like, it's almost sound like a placeholder. Also, I kind of felt like this just came out of nowhere. There's no crash cymbal when the drop hit. That's one thing that would be an easy way to make it, you know, more like, wow, that's a thing that just happened. But also, you know, maybe drop it out, have a little drum fill. Wonder what the tempo is on this bitch. Oh look, 170. Oh, I time stretched it. Oopsies. It was made in FL. Let's go like this. Okay. And then let's unstretch. Okay, so go like this, put that there, and then let's just for shits and giggles, let's do this. This is going to be like the most generic drum fill ever, but it's just to demonstrate a point, so you can take your judgy attitude somewhere else. Fills, here we go. Fill, I just saw it. Man, my brain. Fills. Sure, whatever. I'll just pick, pick the first one I click, and let's see. It'll probably still sound better. So these aren't working that great because they're like hip hop drum fills, but you know, the idea is there. It's just to have a bit more have a bit more separation between like the build and the drop, so that the drop feels more like a thing that happened and not just like a continuation of the build. Let's keep going. Also, let's try a different snare. Why not? We got the tempo now. We may as well do her. Snares, whatever. What we got for drum and bass snares? D and B. That one's small. Oh no, we're having flamming issues. Sure, whatever. Hey, I'm not good at drum and bass. I don't have good drum and bass sounds, but I do think that the snare could be better, so we're just gonna try. Sure. Whenever I say sure, I always want to just continue the word and say the full word, which is shirt. But I don't, because I don't think society's ready for that yet. I think it's just a little tighter and punchier, and maybe you're not side chaining to the snare, which sometimes helps. It's not always necessary, but sometimes, like you could see, I was side chaining the whole song to the snare just to make room for it. But I think it also kind of helped the snare punch through. So if you're not side chaining to the snare, it could be something to try. I think your snare is also kind of like, it's got like this weird room reverb on it or something that I don't know if it's really, I don't think it's the way to go for this song. I mean, okay, here's the thing. I like the chord progression. I don't know that, I mean, there is kind of the wee noo nee noo noo. Like there is a melody there, but I don't know. It's not, yeah, I don't mind the melody. It's not super present in this song. I also find that a lot of your sounds are very wide. You're not making a whole lot of use of the side channel of the stereo field. Like even that, I mean, it is present in the center, but it's also very wide. So a lot of your sounds, when you push them super wide like that, you're just leaving an area of the mix that has room that could be filled, and you're pushing everything to the side. So I'm not saying you should collapse things necessarily to mono, but I think maybe just taking like an audit or take inventory of where things are, each an element in your mix, and seeing if you're filling it all out as best and strategically as possible. Because it's very tempting to just make everything wide because it's exciting and wow, everything is wide and it's cool sounding. But you're just leaving a area of the stage unoccupied. Also, your drums kind of just keep going, and I know I sound like a boomer talking about electronic music, but like I feel like if you looked at your drums, they're either doing pattern A or they're not there. Like there's like, you know what I mean? There's like one specific pattern that the drums are doing when they're present in the mix, and they're always doing that one thing, or they're just not there. Those are like the only two options. So if you could like figure out ways of like maybe specifically listen to some music that you like in this genre and pick out what they do strategically in order to develop the song rhythmically, and what kind of patterns, and do they take out the hi-hat for some parts? Do they simplify to just eighth notes and then they bring in the 16th note shaker chicka chicka stuff? Like get a little more strategic with how and when you're using each individual drum part. I also think that you stuck with the same chord progression the whole time. And like the chord progression is nice, but like, what if during like the build-ups for the drops you switched it up, or maybe during part of the drop you stuck more at the root note or the tonic and then expanded from that through the second part? Like I think that's kind of adding to the repetitiveness of the song, is that the chord progression just stays the same the whole time. And there are songs that do that, and sometimes they work well, but I think that this one could use a little, maybe some tension that you could build by doing a variation on the chord progression, or sticking to the tonic, or something like that. I think that it's a little repetitive because the drums are the same and the chord progression is the same. So maybe trying to figure out a way of like, okay, we've established the chord progression here, it's building up, but now it does this like kind of refrain thing where it does something a little bit different to build some tension, and then we get the chord progression back. Or when it drops, maybe it sticks more on the tonic and rides on the tonic a little bit, and the tonic is just like the main chord. And then it gives us the chord progression back. You know, it's being a little more strategic with your storytelling, using all the tools at your disposal. But it's cool. It's bright. It makes me feel like I am a sprite in a video game. Thank you for sending. Let's move on. Duke Gray and RJ, the Viper, Dodge Viper. This is sick. I think the crunchiness on the guitar, to me, it sounds like the crunch happened after the recording and it's not in the guitar track itself. Like the crunchiness that kind of, there's like, it was on the right side there for a second. And my speakers are reversed. So whenever I hear something on the left side, I have to like mentally remember to say that it's on the right side. It's not that I did that on purpose. It's just that they've been reversed for about 8 years when I put them in the studio, and I have yet to change them. So anyway, yeah, the guitar crunchiness, the clipping on it, it's a bit, I don't know, it doesn't sound intentional. It doesn't sound necessarily like it's a guitar tone thing. It just kind of sounds like it's hitting something a bit too hard. I wasn't finished drawing my robot on a camel. Fuck. This is sick. Musically, it's really good. I think your lead is too loud. I think the lead is really, whenever the lead is there, it's just like, move out of the way, I'm here. And everything else can go fuck itself. Yeah, it's just like, it's like pushes everything in the mix out of the way, and it's like, and then it like backs out, and now we hear the rest of the song. So I think for the most part, the lead is like really up front. And I think that's what's causing it to take on a bit of a muddy, somebody said it was a bit muddy, and I agree with them. The whole mix is kind of taking on a bit of a muddy feel. I think it's quite crowded in terms of how many elements there are at any given time, but that's not really the big problem. I think that when the lead comes in, the lead has like this shape, this frequency response of it, and it's like a sawtooth, but it's kind of the top end is subdued a little bit, so it's a bit muddy, and that's not a problem per se, but because it's so loud and it becomes the entire mix when the lead is happening, all of a sudden the mix sounds like that lead sound because that's like mostly what's there in the mix. And because it has this kind of like trailing off high end, almost dullness, that's what the mix sounds like because it's so loud and it is the mix. So I don't know if that makes sense or not, but let me just. It kind of reminds me of Bad Girls Do It Well. Maybe that's a good reference almost. MIA Bad Girls. Fuck, I love that song. Let's. Yeah, it's kind of got that same vibe. So I would probably start by turning it down. I don't think it needs to be that loud. Like you could hear that lead. That lead gets stuck in everybody's head in the MIA song, and it's very quiet. I mean, that's a totally different style of song, so you can't really apply all the mix notes from that, but. And then I think you gotta figure out, I mean, like you have kind of like, where are the keys to the back door? I don't really know what the words are, but I think like it sounds cool, but it also kind of sounds like cool vocal clip from Splice. Like it doesn't really have an identity per se. It just kind of sounds like, and then drop. And like, sonically it serves a purpose, but it doesn't really give us any context to the song. It doesn't give us any sort of concept or story or, intrigue. It's just like a cool guy saying a cool thing in a cool song, and it would be better if you could come up with something you record yourself and then do the tuning down and the cool guy stuff, try to ask yourself, what vibe does this song give me? And open up a notepad and just listen to it. And as you're listening to it, just start typing in words and phrases that come to mind. And you'll be surprised at how quickly you may come up with something that's like, oh, fuck, that really sums up what I'm going for in this song. Because a lot of the time when you're writing instrumental music, you're not necessarily writing a specific idea. It's more you're like channeling a vibe, as the kids say. But it really helps the vibe if you can nail it down to a specific context or phrase. Like, hold on. A motherfucking robot stole my camel, bro. Something like that. Although that's a little on the nose, but you get my saying. I don't know what I just said. That's not a word. That is not a saying. Blah, 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 blah. It's cool. I like it. Thank you for sending. Felix Archive. Destroy everything you touch. Nice. That sounds familiar. Here we go. So, okay, this is cool, and it's kind of got like an indie, like, CEO at business.com or whatever the hell that artist is called. It's kind of got that style to it, but like everything is down the middle. The only thing on the sides is like reverb, I think. In fact, if you listen to you can kind of hear that. I'm willing to bet it's FL Reverb 2. Maybe. It sounds like a basic reverb on the drums, because you can almost hear it's like a comb filter. Listen to the drum. Or maybe that's just the bass I'm hearing. Anyway, regardless, I think you need to find some way of getting some information on the sides. Wax on, wax off, because everything's just down the center and it just makes things feel congested. There's things on top of each other instead of complementing each other. But I like this. It is very indie. I almost wonder if I'm thinking of the right. Let's see, CEO. I'm just going to do, business.net. Sorry, .net. It kind of reminds me of...
The lollipop go the weasel.
I get so much, baby, I do enough.
Parents went and got degrees, chose the
Fin past the ends, another Friday night downtown. We descend another Friday night. I don't mean to offend, but can you keep up? I don't need you guys anyway, right?
So that would be maybe a good reference for this. I think your drums are too dynamic, and you can kind of see it. Like your kick and your snare are much louder than everything else.
and the one needs a plan is if we would never meet again, leaving everyone in dirt, leave them deserted.
And I don't think I mean to turn them down. I think I mean to kind of crunch them a bit, So if you took your drums and your kick and your snare, sent them to a channel strip, and even just like...
And the one needs a plan is if we would never meet again, leaving everyone in dirt, leave them deserted. Keep them all at a distance, you get alarmed. Wanna see what you see in a person. Wanna see what you see in a person. I need to understand you.
See how when I turn this, I mean, obviously I'm crunching it a bit too much, and I'm also crunching your entire mix. But if I go between like full mix where this is fully there and I take it completely out and go back to the original, listen to what the snare does.
And the one everyone in dirt, leave them deserted. Keep them all at a distance, you get alarmed. Wanna see what you see in a person. Wanna see what you see in a person. I need to understand you. I wanna see.
Like, that is dirty, and I think it fits the vibe. And all I've done is distort it a little bit. I've kind of like kind of medium clipped it. What's the difference between hard and soft? Firm? I firm clipped it. I firm clipped it with this wave shaper, and then I just like went in and brought this down and got more volume out. So actually, you know what we're going to do? We're going to delete this. We're going to put it in the master bus instead, which there already is one in the master bus because I'm sure I've done this before. It's almost the same. And we'll do kind of a similar thing.
Everyone in dirt, leave them deserted. Keep them all at a.
Except what is different here? Do I have like... I don't know. It should be a bit the same.
Everyone in dirt, leave them deserted. Keep them all at a distance, you get alarmed. Wanna see what you see in a person.
Okay, so now basically what I'm gonna do is distort it or firm clip it, and then send it through send it into this limiter.
Everyone in dirt, leave them deserted.
And now what I can do is I can turn off and on the entire master bus so we can go back and forth.
Everyone in dirt, leave them deserted. Keep them all at a distance, you get alarmed. Wanna see what you see in a person. Wanna see what you see in a person. I need to understand you. I wanna
see how it just has more like it has more attitude. It has more edge. It's a bit dirtier. It's a bit more punk, you know, and I think a big part of that is mostly just coming from your drums just are almost unprocessed. They sound kind of unprocessed dynamically, like the snare's just poking through a bit too much.
Everyone is dirty, leave them deserted. Keep them all at a distance, you get hurt. Wanna see what you see in a person. Wanna see what you see in a person. I need to.
But I really think, and I think you could go through and simplify certain parts, because we kind of have this like hi-hat thing that's going, and it just goes. It goes the whole time.
Everywhere.
And I think what you should do is honestly go listen to some of this guy's tracks and take some cues from how simple some of the parts are.
Another what's up, tell you what I really, really want. Spice it up, I really, really want. Diamond chain.
Fuck it, that's what I say. Fuck it, that's what I say. Fuck
That can't, baby, fuck it.
That's what I say. So we can take a trip. We can triple take a trip for the money like a little.
It's much simpler. Like it's more stripped back. Every element that's there is like is an important element, you know. And I'm not saying that your elements aren't important or anything like that, but I think that if you listen to some of his tracks, you may get some good ideas. So good job. I really like where this is going. Oopsies.
Never meet again.
It's honestly really good. I think that giving it a bit more edge and a bit more, you know, a bit more like, fuck you, government, you know, like that sort of vibe. All right, cool. Let's move on. Good job. HS Wave 3. Very good name. Cool. This is very complex. I think what might help this is, so you have kind of like, I really wanted to take out my calculator app so I could try to figure out where the downbeat is vibe going on. And I think what might, like, that's cool. It's, you know, it's kind of like math rock, you know, it's kind of, it's supposed to be complex and a little bit trippy. I get that. But what you could maybe do to help the smooth-brained individuals like myself follow along is at some point maybe just add like a quarter note, eighth note, tss, 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 you know, to kind of dumb it down a little bit for people like me that don't have a big brain. And that way you could still have all the crazy like off-time snare hits and stuff that is surprising and what's another word? Exciting, I guess. But you can kind of anchor it, especially maybe as we're getting closer to where the drop is going to happen, so that we're like, when the drop happened, I didn't know how to headbang. I was like, I don't know the temp. Okay, there it is. I got it. You know, it probably took me like a full measure to understand how to nod my head to it. And the rest of the time I was just kind of like enjoying the sounds, but not necessarily like grooving with it. So I think if you could have something, especially leading up to the drop, that really solidified 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, you know, and gave us a bit more of a reference point rhythmically, I think that would help. So, like, everything that's going on here sounds cool, but I'm kind of missing a central theme or melody or hook or something, right? There's a lot of kind of doo-doo-dee, 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 like arpeggios. There's a lot of really cool sounds and stuff, but I don't know what story is being told here. And that's usually what the melody does is it takes this universe that you're creating with all these cool sounds and rhythms and sound design, everything. You are creating the universe, but I don't know what the character development is. I don't know what the plot of this track is. And that's typically what a melody will do for a song is it'll take this universe and it'll put somebody in the universe and it'll give us somebody to relate to. I know that sounds grandiose and maybe a little bit dumb, but that's the way I think about it. I think about it like the sound design, the rhythm, the bass line, the chord progression, that's all very world building. And then the melody or the hook or the vocals, that's the character that the listener will attach themselves to. Especially like we went, okay, the drop section, okay, it's more about the drop and okay, that's fine. You should still have some melodic hooky stuff here and there. But then we come out of the drop section, we don't have a melody, we have more sound design. More sound design. And then what do we get after that? More sound design. We still don't really have like a melody to speak of. But like sound design, everything, I think you're doing a great job. I think maybe one little nitpick I would have with the sound design is that it's kind of quite atonal. It's very, like I already added melodies that aren't in the OG and used them repeatedly, so I don't understand. I didn't know that this was a remix. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really know how else to explain it. I'm not necessarily hearing. Bootleg. Okay. I'm not really hearing any sort of melody that I could hum back to you, you know, like, what's an example? Like my track Existentia, down, 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 da 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 da, like that. I can hum that to you, but can you hum any of this back to me and get it across besides the rhythmic stuff or the doo-doo-dee, 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 you know what I mean? Like, there's nothing really that you can hum back to me and me understand. And that's like the hum test, right? Like, can I hum a song back to you? Is there a hook that I can that I can easily do with my voice and do it poorly because I'm not a singer, and you still kind of understand what song I'm talking about. You're like, oh yeah, I did hear that song. Dun dun da 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 da. Pre-drop 1 and post-drop 2. Pre-drop 1. That's like an arpeggiator. Like, it's not really a melody. That's basically a chord that's being played one note at a time. You know what I mean? Yeah, exactly. Dun, dun. Like, that's a stupid melody, but it's a memorable melody. Like that's, I'm not saying it's a good melody, but I can hum it without giving you any context, and you will know what song I'm talking about if you have heard it. And that's kind of the test that I apply. You said post drop 2. Like, okay, let's see if my keyboard is working. It's kind of like an exciting little thing that I play with myself. I just said I play with myself. Let's try it. Oh, hey, we got it. All right, now let's. Okay, there's big latency, so don't expect anything good. Let me see if I can. I'm scared to change this. If this ruins the stream, I'm sorry. 384. There's still a bunch of latency. Whatever. There's some plugin that's causing latency, but I will still. Okay, so that's a pretty easy key to write a melody in. Let me just I'm doing the thing that I probably shouldn't do. And then we'll do this too. Oh, fuck it. We'll do that. Why am I doing this? I don't. Okay. I gotta do it in a spot where I know the rhythm. Yeah, like whatever. I'm just fucking around. But that would be an example of it's kind of got this thing. The thing is, or that's kind of like a hook, right? D, C, F, E was the intended melody, like those small 4-note bits. Yeah, I mean, like, I'm not saying that you didn't try to do a melody. I'm just saying that from my point of view, in my opinion, there's no melody that I could. Now that I just did do do do, like now I could like hum that back. Dun, 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 dun. Now this is like a melody. Now that's a melody that I can hum to you. I hope that that makes sense. And again, that's just my opinion. Not every song has crazy hooks. Not every song needs crazy hooks. But when I listen to a track, the tracks that stick out to me as something that I can relate to emotionally, which is kind of the whole point of this whole fucking thing that we do. The melody is, the chords speak to me and set me up to feel something, and the melody really drives it home and sticks with me after I'm done listening to it. I can think back to that song that made me feel a certain way, and I'm not necessarily thinking about how cool the sound design is. Sometimes the sound design is so fucking cool that I'm like, holy shit, that's what's memorable to me. But for the most part, it's the melody and how it's working off of the chords that are being played underneath of it. That's one simple smooth brain man's opinion. Take it with a grain of salt, but cool track. Let's move on. Chord. All right, let's, it's time to pick your vehicle in Gran Turismo. It's 100% picking your mobile vehicle. So here's, I dig this. This is cool, but you can kind of visually see that we have a build that builds to a build that builds to a thing. And that is a little confusing. You can kind of get away with a build that builds to a short build that builds up to a thing. But I feel like you have like a 4 or 8 bar or whatever this is length build, and then you have another build of the same length. And yes, this is from last week. I recognize it as well. So I would probably try to combine, this build and this build. I would try to combine them in a way that maybe uses all the best elements, but kind of collapses it to one build so that you don't get me all excited and then it's a bit of a letdown and then you got to get me all excited again. And then, okay, now we're moving, and then when you get there, it's a little light on the bass. Like it's very simple, and I don't dislike that. There's no cymbals, there's no crash cymbals, there's no hi-hats, I don't. Okay, sorry, there is a bit of a crash. It's very subdued, and that's okay. I think it's almost too basic, and I think what key are we in here? A. Cool. Let's I think maybe it's a bit too simple rhythmically. Let's see what happens if we figure out what the tempo is first. Definitely not that. Maybe 130. Maybe 120. 128, the magic number. Okay, I almost, it almost sounds better with the metronome hi-hat. That's how much it needs some, drums. And then let's just go into our folder here. What was the one we used last week? Crates and breaks? Sure. Sure. Let's see what it sounds like just with this. Like, okay, it's not as simple, so maybe this is too busy of it, but already I'm like, I'm jiving more. I'm getting freaky with my car selection, you know? I'm picking the MR2, the first gen MR2 because it's supercharged. So I think maybe just like it needs more embellishment, you know, rhythmically more than anything in the percussive area. Middle mouse click, baby. By the way, hi. I was just getting feedback on my track from Bishu. What a flex. Bishu is from the same area of Canada as I am. I like hearing how chords sound is evolving over the years. It's very chord, and I'm excited to see where chord takes this very chord style. So yeah, overall, I mean, okay, cool. We have a melody. Why didn't this melody come in earlier? I feel like you could probably bring that melody in earlier, and it could be not just like a little treat for the end of the song. It could be a more integral part of the track. I don't think I've met Bishu. Jesus Christ. I knew that was going to fucking happen, and it still scared me. I'm going to turn the heat up. It's cold as balls in here. Okay, cool. That's what I think. I think it could use more embellishment, and I hope that me throwing some random hi-hat loops on top of it gave you some ideas. Very cool. Let's move on. Holy shit, look at this sausage. Diorphis Edexi Arfes featuring seriously, cannot one of these names be easy to pronounce? Is there a reason why? Real psychiatrist. I'm gonna need a fucking psychiatrist after trying to read those names. Here we go.
Waiting for you. I will fence you.
Well, that was wild. Okay, what do I think about this? I think it's very heavy. I think that it's very heavy. I think what would make this better is maybe a little refrain on the white noise wall of sound, because like that has its place, and there for sure could be a lot of that happening. But I feel like